I'm Dr. Shirley Disler, the author of the Brick Math series. Welcome to the year of Brick Math. Today in our session, we are going to be working with Chapter 7 in the Teacher's Edition of the Basic Fractions book. In this session, we'll be comparing and ordering fractions. And in case you are not familiar with the names of the bricks or brick vocabulary, you might want to visit one of our intro videos to get some background on that, because today we'll be talking about different brick sizes. So now let's get started building our model. So here we have three fractions, and we're going to compare these fractions and figure out least to greatest which order they go in. Now there'll be some vocabulary that's going to be important to this lesson, and in your teacher's edition, I give you the vocabulary and the definitions for this vocabulary that you'll want students to think about. And in this lesson, we'll be talking about comparing fractions, equivalence, least common denominator, and then of course greater than, less than. So we want to be using that vocabulary throughout the lesson. So we have 1 over 2, 1 by 1 brick over 1 by 2 brick is 1/2. We have 3 over 8, which is 3/8, and 3 over 4, which represents 3/4. Now, which of those do you think is larger? Most students might say 3/8 is larger because this denominator takes up more space. But let's do some building and see how we might help students see if they have any misconceptions in that way. To do that, we have to go back to our fraction train. And fraction train is where we take each of the denominators, fraction 1's denominator, fraction 2's denominator, and fraction 3's denominator, and we build it out into a rectangle so that they're all equivalent sized wholes. So we notice that this one is longer. So we're going to add to the top until it's the same length as that one. And then we're going to add to the bottom until it's the same length. So now we can see that our common denominator across all three of these fractions will be 8. So I'm going to, on this base plate, I'm using 2 base plates here just to give you a little, spread it out a little bit and give you some additional room. So now I have my 3 denominators for each of these fractions. To figure out what the numerator that's going to go on top is, I'm going to count the number of bricks. In fraction 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bricks. So I'm going to need 4 bricks of the numerator from fraction 1. So let's add 4 bricks. I'm going to use white ones so that you can see them really well. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the second one, I didn't have to add any bricks, so I'm just going to keep the 1 by 3 brick that I have there. And in the third one, I added 1, so I have 2 bricks. I'm going to need 2 1 by 3 bricks in that one. So let's add 2 1 by 3 bricks there. And now when I look at these 3 fractions, I can see that fraction 3 takes up the most space. We're using 6 parts out of 8. And in fraction 1, we're using 4 parts out of 8. And in fraction 2, we're only using 3 parts out of 8. So this fraction in the middle would be the least amount, would be less than the other 2. And then what I would ask the students to do would be to place these in the order of their size. So I would move this one here and move these 4 like that. I would move this one down here and move these like that. And then I would proceed to have students to build, draw, and write and explain their thinking. So here you can see our build, draw, write process where we have 1/2 drawn, 3/8 drawn, and 3/4 drawn. And after we found our common denominator of 8 and we went through the process, we redrew the fractions, and now we have them placed in order, 6/8, 4/8, and 3/8. So we can see that this 6/8 problem, fraction 3 is actually the largest, and fraction 2 is actually the smallest. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Brick Math series, and welcome to the Year of Brick Math.